Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 121. In today's episode, I'm gonna actually dive into what did I do to achieve to that oneness, and how was the journey into that, and how did my twin return and told me everything he had experienced. I might read some of his messages to give you an overview what he felt while we were in a separation, while we didn't talk to one another, and when he returned, how he described this to me. And I'm gonna bring it in all of the spiritual practices, all of the things I started to change and shift that changed for me. And today you have heard me all the time, me talking about you need to do the inner healing, you need to shift your frequency, you need to open your heart, you need to do this and that. The truth is, yes, you need to, but how to? How do I get there? Where do I start? Where do I begin? When do I feel the difference? How long it will take? Is it even worth it? Will it be a waste of money? I'm going to say you one more thing. When you invest in your frequency, in your energy, and that comes down to the food, the experiences, healing modalities, healing spiritual practices, tapping into your subconscious, you never waste money. You never do. You might waste money of, drinking in a bar at one night. I'm going to say I'm not here to judge. I used to party when I was younger. I used to love champagne and all of that. Do whatever you have to do. It's not about that. But I'm just saying that we often are willing to spend, let's say, $100 or $200 for a night out instead of putting that into you. That will transform that investment into more and more and more. More in the sense of feeling love, having a meaningful, beautiful relationships, feeling at peace. Because peace is the highest currency. Feeling in a sense of abundance, wealth, health, all of that. So I'm going to say that because I really started to invest in my frequency, in my energy. All of the retreats I have been to, and I go about 3-4 retreats a year, and I never know why I'm going on these retreats. Same of the courses, same of the things I read. I read a lot. And I really highly recommend you to start small. And my Reiki practices, my Kundalini practices, all of them have changed. And why I'm like a broken record over here is because I want you to experience the same. And that's very egoistic. I know it's like an ego. It's like, I want you to have the same experience. It's not about that, actually. It's more about once you get there, you're free. And you will give it to the others. And that's how it continues. We often will think of, what will I change in this world? Your frequency changes the conscious frequency around the globe, around the world. And that's proven. So if we want a more place, or we want to make that earth more connected, more in oneness, more in love, and more in union, despite the fact of, that's why twin flames are coming to your life, where they might not be from the same background as you. They might not have the same religious background. They might not have the same skin as you. They might not view exactly the world like you. And they might live across the world, and they might have a different financial status. They might have everything different. But yet you feel oneness. And that's the beauty. We are all one, despite the fact of what labels we are putting to ourselves. And the more we become oneness, the more we all get to feel love, connection, unity, community. And this is the world we would like to be in. We see how the world is splitting apart. And with these little things we can consciously exchange. And Twin Flame Journey is one of them to do that. It's about you becoming your higher self and giving back to the humanity through your consciousness, through your energy, through your beauty. Whatever is your background. And that's why I love that twin flames that might not make any sense to your mind. Why am I attracted to this person? Why I'm feeling this way, even though they're not my type. They not be the man or a woman I would like to be going out with, or they don't show me something like love back and I'm crazy about them. But okay, so the first thing is that I did on this journey, and I'm also talking about it today because it's starting to remark for me very soon the date me and my twin actually met, when my life completely changed. And I wish you would see the previous version of me. If you would see the previous version of me, you'd be like even my friend said another day, that energy, wow. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And that's why I'm forever thankful. Anyways, let's go into the fact of what was the first thing. So after this intense separation, in that sense of, I came across with the information on the internet about twin flames, and I started to realize that it makes a lot of sense. Later on, of course, I found on my own journal that I had already said to myself this on that very moment I met my twin flame, but I have no remembrance of that. So I might have written this like out of, like when we go into the channeling messages, when you channel your journal, you might write things that you have no idea that you're writing down. And then what was very interesting, that there was written that, thank you God, I have met my twin flame, my life is so divine and beautiful. I had no idea that the separation is going to happen and it's not going to be comfortable. But the number one lesson before your twin returns to your life, whichever form, whether they're going to send you a message, whether you're going to run into them, whether they're going to say to you something, is from that moment or when you accept so-called twin flame connection. I'm not saying you have to accept the word twin flame and say, yes, I am a twin flame, I am a twin flame. Again, another label we are trying to put on ourselves. But you get honest with yourself of saying, I love this person and I don't know what it is. And I don't know what happened. But I'm accepting that this happened to me. And this can take time. It doesn't come from the mind. But normally that pain, what you're going through, will trigger that your soul, your heart, the heart that remembers, not that your brain, but your heart remembers that connection, the soul, everything that is connected, will now talk to you, will be now stronger than your mind. Another day also I read about it that, our heart is a separate brain, and our heart has a memory of a lot of things and a lot of knowledge and a lot of knowing. And the heart develops before the brain in the womb for a baby. So heart is actually the answer, not the brain. Brain comes later. And when we tap into the heart, we know the answer is there. But as the mind is trying to make sense of it, we might not get into that answer very quickly. So let it, how do I say? This is why I say that your twin flame is going to crack your heart open. And it might not be the most comfortable thing. And I'm not here to laugh on that. I know that. I was suffering and I had this off and on. And here I'm just going to say another thing. When you go off and on about, yes, I have so-called met my twin flame, or no, I have not met my twin flame, it's not real, it's all fake, it's not reality, you keep on going back and forth, meaning you're giving a very mixed message. Today I believe, tomorrow I don't. Today I believe, tomorrow I don't. And there's a battle inside of you. You have to let that battle to happen. Happen to me will happen to you. Let it happen. Be one day, yes, I believe in it, it's all true, and the next day you can go. Because the heart will remember, especially I'm in a very intensive course for right now for the inner dance. And there was this beautiful quote, which I also shared, which was shared with us on that day. And I just want to read that. And that's from the inner dance. We're going to have an inner dance activation again on a Patreon. And you can see it on the video. It's again on my YouTube channel as well. What happens to your brain when we connect to the heart and we connect to those waves? But the quote or the saying that was sent on that day was so beautiful. And I'm reading it because it was sent to me. It's not something I came up with. There's a moment in the journey when something shifts. The mind quiets and the body softens. And the heart begins to remember. Not the love we have been taught, the love that is given and taken, measured and earned, but the love that simply is, the love that pulses through all things, the love that moves through us when we surrender. Inner dance is not just a journey through sound, it's a journey through heart, a dissolving, a remembering, a return. So today, let yourself feel fully, let your heart break open, and let love undo you. I share this music as a prayer, as a mirror, as a frequency, and let it move you in a ways words never could. I found it very beautifully said. And this is what happens on the first stage for me, how it was when my twin returned. So there was an absolute silence. And there was so much, it's a bit like you are in a fog. All of the days are fog, but at the same time you are functioning. You're trying to understand what is going on, and you're going from one thing to another, and you keep on trying to make sense of the things, but at the same time nothing makes sense. And you could look at under social media, or you can journal for hours, or you can try to find the contact, and you can even send some messages, but there are very little that you get back. And I remember when I was looking into the twin flame information, there was this one thing that really stayed with me, was the fact of if someone is your true twin flame, they'll return back to your life. And again, here it just shows to you, start trusting it. But of course, how can you trust when you have a fight between your mind and the soul, mind and a heart, soul and heart? How? What do I trust? Do I trust my heart? Do I trust my soul? Which one is which? But I'm going to say the heart is going to win. And and it comes through the pain. Because when the heart cracks open, it cracks open. So don't feel bad when you feel sad, when you feel like I cannot no longer. You can. I know you can. The source, the universe, the God also knows you can. You're not alone. You have all the support. You just need to sit and feel it. And that was the first thing. I remember when I accepted, I said, all right, that's what it is. From the very first day, I knew that my life will never be the same, and I'm accepting it. And the acceptance was from there where I think 2 or 3 weeks went by. And the acceptance happened during the Lion's Gate, which is also very interesting. Now when I look back on the journey, I see, oh my God, everything was divinely connected. Everything was divinely guided. I just didn't know. Like my brain didn't know. My heart knew. My soul knew. That's why my soul did everything during the holiday or the cosmic events that I had no conscious, like my mind never heard of these things. I never heard of the Lion Gate. I never heard of Shivaratri before, or here and there, but it didn't make sense to me. And I remember during the Lion's Gate, I accepted. I said, well, fine. That's what it is. And it went exactly about 3 weeks, and I received on my WhatsApp. And I had deleted all of the WhatsApp messages. I had deleted all of the things. I just kind of vanished. And he came, and he said, hi. And I remember sitting in a car, and I looked it out of my car window, and I said, this is real. This is real. Now show me the next steps. Once I had that understanding that, yes, the twin flames exist, or that connection, that profound connection that is there, and separation was never a thing, it was an illusion, I had to understand what I have to change. And I also, deep down inside of me, I knew I have to change my life. I didn't have that feeling when my twin returned back to my life that now he's back in my life. Now, of course, I did get a little anxious. I didn't know what to do exactly. But I also, deep down, I knew I have to change my life. And my life is going to change. And it was somehow a hard pill to swallow because I was used to with the life I had. And I was used to with the version I knew of myself. And now I had to become maybe a different version, or maybe the real version. And that required that I had to change. I changed my home. I changed the place I live. I got rid of a lot of things that I no longer had. I had to make a big change. And in certain ways, it was very uncomfortable, but at the same time, I had so much trust. From there on, like the trust jumped into me. When my twin returned back to my life, and that's why I say, if your twin has returned back to your life, if your twin has told you something, trust is now there. Don't go back and forth. Don't go back and forth. But they are not in a relationship with me. Trust why they came back. Trust what they show you. So I had to step out of my old life. And it was interesting also, another day I had a call, and in my old life before, we used to go a lot of, let's say, charity events or things like that, and I enjoyed them a lot. But all of a sudden I could sit there and I can hear people talking, but I don't connect. I'm like somewhere else. Yes, my physical body was sitting right there at this table, but I'm not connecting to any of them. I don't even know what they're talking. And I can hear some babbling, but I don't understand. It was a very weird feeling. And I had to say that, okay, I'm going to let go of that. It doesn't mean that we can never do this again, but I had to let go in that moment. And then the next thing came from there. I made the big changes in my life. I really did. I took five suitcases from the family of four. 5 suitcases of things. And rest I left. Yeah, so if you have ever wondered when you're listening to me that, wow, she seems so peaceful and so quiet, or she feels, that's what exactly I did. And I'm not telling you have to do what I did, but I did that. And that's why I know how scary can be a change. I took 5 suitcases of my life. All of a sudden there were only 5 suitcases. But that just shows to us what love is, and when your heart is open. So don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid when something falls apart. Don't be afraid of following what tells you where you have to go. It might not be comfortable, but it will make a lot of sense. And if you have to stay where you are right now, that's wonderful too. But listen to your heart. So the third thing is, from there on, I realized that I really have to step into spiritual practices. So the first, I started to meditate a lot more. I've been meditating for many years actually, but then I had to step into like deeper meditations. And it was interesting that these deeper meditations, they were telling me everything. My journals are packed with information, like channeled information. And it was interesting that I was sitting and I'm like, how do I know these things? How do I know that this is going to happen? How do I know? Because I don't see this in my 3D. I'm in a country that I never visited before. I don't know anything about it. But somehow people's souls and things are coming to me to help me, to show me the way. But I don't understand, how do I know all of this, what I'm writing here? It was a very weird time of this part, but it's a time of alignment with your soul, and that comes normally in a silence, on your own. Then I remember I had a huge breakdown, and like my health started to completely go downhill. meaning of actually it was activating. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was activating my heart and purifying my body, because that's what Kundalini does. So my heart could stop out of nowhere. I'm sitting and I feel how I'm looking at my partner, and I say, I'm going to pass out in 2-3 minutes. Just look at me, talk to me. And then what I did, I started to run. My body went completely frozen cold. And I didn't know what it is, and it was coming and coming. What I was doing, I started running to get the beat into my heart. Then I went into the hot path, sitting over there to get my body back into the heat. And this could happen over and over, and I feel like I'm gonna die. My health is absolutely out of control. I could have, my body could shake. I could feel I was sick after another. I had a throat infection. I had this and that. And I said, I've never been sick so much. What's happening to me? And I really thought that I'm very, very sick. I went to a doctor. They look at my heart and say, your heart is absolutely fine. Your blood tests are absolutely fine. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling how I'm not here. But since I always believe in energy, even though I never spoke about this before, but now I do, I stayed calm and I trusted. I said, okay. My blood pressure was, although very, very low. I think it was 40-60. Good days 50-70. So it was quite low. And I'm going to say that these are the side effects of Kundalini awakening. This is a side effect of heart opening. And that's why when you do sometimes Kundalini activations with me, or you do with someone else, you might feel that you go completely cold. It's a reset, and it's a very beneficial reset, because your system is using all of the blood and all of the energy to go into the chakras, to like explode them. And so from your body, it can become completely frozen. And some of you might have a moment where really you are like, in that sense, like hyper ventilated. And it's, I'm going to say, it's not the nicest feeling. I went through that. And I had a couple of times a moment where I'm driving with a car and I feel, okay, this whole energy is coming over me and I'm going to pass out. So I had very, very scary moment where it was nighttime. I was driving and this happened to me. And I didn't know what to do. And also what helps a lot is drinking a lot of water, of course. So I stepped out of the car in the middle of darkness. And it was very dangerous to be there. And I started running back and forth, drinking a lot of water, like getting a lot. So there I was thinking that no one's going to find me in this darkness, and there I'm going to be, and that's it. That's over. But that again was a heart opening, and like I've said many times before, this journey of the way of Kundalini awakening, the Brahma energy awakening alongside with your twin flame, and that's why it's called spiritual awakening journey. Your twin flame will awaken you spiritually. And that's why you have a lot of this doubt and a lot of up and down and going here and there, because it's really going to do that. And that's what brought me to the next thing that I did. And that was a very important part of it. Of course, I started to dive into the spiritual practices during this time. So reading The Power of Now, if you haven't read that right now, get yourself a copy and have that with you all the time. Same with the Alchemist. I also have attached some of the links in the description over here, where you can take, and there are some new recommendations time to time here, what I recommend to read, or I recommend to watch, or things like that, because you might be going through a similar thing at this moment, and it might help you. And then the next thing from there on was I went on a retreat, and that was interesting that I had no idea why I have to go on that retreat. I saw the advertisement on Wednesday, and on Friday I happened to be on that retreat already. And I didn't even know if I had money for it to go for it, or I should go, or How should I go? If my cards will work, because I still had another country cards and they were like a bit of a mess. But everything worked. Everything worked. There was no problems whatsoever. And I remember I didn't know where I'm going. But I know I have to be there. And that was the first night where I tried the holotropic breath work. And that was a very, very big thing. So, like I said, the first one was that I started to embody the trust in me. But then, after all of that I changed my life, I started to dive into the spiritual practices, was the holotropic breath work with an idea that, because when you do holotropic breath work, you are tapping into your subconscious. So because you breathe about 2.5, 3 hours, so it's quite intense. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I always, like for those, like I haven't done ayahuasca or mushrooms or any of these. And those who want to get, I believe, in a similar state, it's through holotropic breath work. And that's what also changed everything for me. Why? Because I could see me and my twin. I could hear, I could feel that oneness. I could see that oneness. I could be that oneness. And I remember when I came back from that trip, I was lying down there and I said to myself, I'm not crazy. There is something that is true. And now I experience that oneness. I experienced this oneness of that beauty. So prior to that, I had a trust, but I haven't experienced the oneness yet. I could imagine what the oneness is, but I didn't know. And that's why also why I talk about becoming a higher self, why I talk about getting into that feeling, getting into that, deeply into that practice. Because when you experience this oneness, you know it's real. And you no longer go this, yes, no, I don't know, I think so, maybe they come back, maybe they love me, maybe they don't, maybe they this. It's that. It's so exhausting. Do you agree with me? So exhausting when this broken record in our head goes over and over and over and over again, and it's like doesn't leave you alone. And what interesting was about that when I went on this retreat, I had no idea about Shivaratri. I've heard it before, but Mahashivaratri is the time where divine feminine and divine masculine energies are uniting for the Hindus. Hindus are celebrating that. There's a big story behind it. And that happened to be in this time. So what are the possibilities that from Lion Gates, I happened to go to Mahashivaratri, things I didn't know. But all of these cosmic energies help me to feel all of this is real and I'm not making this up. I'm going to also just bring it in here, a very little thing. The fact that, yes, when me and my twin, we both met, we had an instant connection and we both said to each other. We both said very quickly, I love you. We both had very this need, like we text to each other. So we did have this connection of talking and sharing and how many times he said, you changed my life and all of these kind of things. So we did have that conversation. So me and my twin wasn't completely in the fact that we didn't say to each other these things. We did. But my brain couldn't believe it at the point of so-called separation. Then it was very difficult. And I felt like a fool. I felt like it was only me and so on and so on. So during the Shivaratri, which is now coming up as well. So in a couple of days, it's a Shivaratri. And I have made a beautiful transformational channeled meditation for that. And that happened again after a very intense tantric activation. So it's up here on Patreon and YouTube. I believe on Patreon version you have longer how to prepare. On YouTube it's available. As much as I can give, and you can take part of it, take part of it. So anyhow, and then we were at the retreat. I was the first one who woke up in a morning of Mahashivaratri, and everything made sense to me. On that moment, I was like, now everything makes sense to me. And every other practice and every other holotropic breath work I did, I was like, wow, why did I punish myself all of these months? Why did I do this to myself? And then I was given the channeled message about me and my twin. And this woman didn't know about twin flames. I didn't tell to anybody. We had to sit in front of a person, and she just said to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Yeah, and I got my answer. And I remember I came back, it was Sunday evening, I arrived back home. On Monday, I opened my phone, and there is the message. And I'm like, okay. And it's obviously started like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? And so on. And then it said, when you left, you broke me. You broke me into the pieces. And yeah, I left the country, as I said, while, I would have somehow, my mind would have given everything to stay, but my soul already knew that you'll not get these answers when you don't go what you're supposed to do. And again, this was a big thing when my twin reached out and started writing for me, that this connection was beyond time and space for him. He never felt something before like that, and he still doesn't understand why he's feeling so deeply about me, why he's seeing me in his dreams, why this is this. And I'm sitting and I'm reading, and I was just like, oh my God, it feels like I'm in two different realities. Because just this weekend I experienced all of that. I saw all of this in oneness, and now I see this in front of me. And that's also the reason why I talk about inner union. Because when you go into that state, you get the answer. Whether the answer is that you have to be with your twin, whether the answer is that what's going to come, but you know all of this already. And I was just like, wow. And that was a confirmation for me. I need to dive deep in who I am. And my twin, of course, told me that every single thing I had written on my journals prior to that. He explained me his life. He explained his experience. He said, I want to see you right now. I'm going to buy the tickets. I'm going to come and see you. And I'm like, what just happened? But then I had to go on from there. So obviously I continued with all of the breath work, with all of the yoga, with all of the meditations, with the energy work. I got myself a Reiki master. I was going first, I think, in every 2 weeks, and started to leave off the limiting beliefs, letting it out, getting this out of me. And piece by piece, every time I released something, every time I let go of something, I received an information. And all of the synchronicities that I thought is a madness, 1111, 222, 555, 777, their birthday, their name, their things, their stuff, all of a sudden, all of this made sense to me. Everything was real. And my mind had no more power. That's why I say holotropic breath work, or some of you are going to ayahuasca and they see their twin there. The twin tells them everything. The reason I am not plant medicine, I'm not saying I'm never going to do it or things like that, but because never say never. And if my soul one day feels that there is a next stage where you need a plant medicine, then there is a plant medicine. But I've noticed now that we can do so much by just tapping into the deepness. And that's why I love Kundalini activations, because we are doing this within your energy while you are completely aware. Sometimes, of course, the Kundalini can take it over, but we can bring you back very quickly. Yes, your life is going to change. I'm not going to lie here. I'm not going to say that, oh, everything's going to be the same. No, it's not. So this was the thing when I said about it. What was so important of this, what I did, was the feeling of samadhi, a feeling of oneness. And when you feel the oneness, and when you feel it, believe me, you will have the answer, one form or another, of your twin. Whether it's in your subconscious, whether it's in your 3D, whether something's going to happen. But something is going to happen. Because you tapped into that. And then, of course, the universe started to align with everything for me. And I needed to start to listen. There was no more I could go like, I'm not going to do this, or it doesn't matter, I don't need to do this. The moment I said that, something happened. And then that's how this podcast was born. Because the soul said, now it's your time to do that podcast. I thought no one's going to ever listen to it, because I had no plans of, let's say, advertising it or putting it anywhere. I said no. And you've heard that from the first episode. Those who haven't, scroll down to the first episode where I clearly say, if one person listens to it and it changes their life, amazing. And until today, now I'm going to say my practices are, I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't ask, I don't expect. I don't expect things from my twin, from my husband, from myself. I just wake up and I say, okay, show me the way of what I have to do today. And I'll do. Whether I like it or I don't like it, I do it. I'm in a service, and that's what I have to be here today. And I would like you, and that's one of the reasons I made this episode. Because if you have really, really met your twin flame, you've been really activated, then the answer is inside of you. The answer is not outside. The answer is not inside of your twin. The answer is inside of you. And I want you to experience this fully inside. And how do we get there? Is step by step, by starting to practice all of these things, what I've been telling. But also I'm going to bring it in here that once my twin told me all of these things, I felt like so much in peace, and I felt the same love. And that was, I feel like, another missing piece. I felt the same love when we first, in the sense of, met, and all of that love that happened. It like burst through me. I went outside and I was looking, and I had tears coming. Like, I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. The trees are so beautiful. The birds are so beautiful. The sun is so beautiful. The air is so amazing. And this is why many of you are afraid that I will never ever feel this love again. You will. You will. But you will feel that from when the heart cracks open, not from the mind. So don't try to solve this with the mind. And if the mind is there right now, let it be. Let it just be. But the truth will come through you, and let it happen. Really, let it happen. Don't be afraid. And what I recommend here for you today, number one, read The Power of Now or The Alchemist. The Alchemist, I think, is certain ways, because The Alchemist has nothing to do with a love story or anything of that, but it shows the trust. And it shows how everything is aligned when you listen. And even though you can feel sometimes that, no, it doesn't make any sense. The Alchemist is my absolute Bible. I want to actually read you a little piece from The Alchemist. And I believe many of you have heard that same quote over and over again. But why do I say that? Is that when you want something in your life, the universe will conspire by helping you to achieve it. But the universe can only help you when you listen. So for you to get your dreams and desire, the universe will start aligning to get you there. But you need to go into the inner journey and self-discovery and trusting the process. It's like Santiago, who is the main character, embarks on this journey to self-exploration and learns that the key of achieving his dream lies listening to his heart and trusting his path. It's a beautiful book. Each one of you should have a copy of that. And I'll read it once a year or anytime you read it. And so just to say that, trust and become one with that. It happened to me. I never thought that my twin will ever return to my life. I did not think of that he will feel the same way like he did. I didn't know that I broke him the way he broke me. I didn't know that it was a very, very difficult time for him. I had no idea what this journey is going to bring me afterwards of that. I never thought I would stay with my husband. I never thought I will be having a podcast. I never thought I will do retreats. I thought I would be the same who I was when I started 19. But I'm no longer the same. And that's the beauty of this journey. And who I am in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, or how is the journey in 40 years, we don't know. Well, maybe this podcast will continue until this time. We are entering into actually on the third season. And in third season, like I said, we will also focus more on the healing modalities. Because I believe we talk quite a lot about our, a twin flame. And you can also put it down what you would like to hear more. What is the thing that you would like to feel? What can help you to transform? Or things that are confusing and you don't understand and you would like to hear more. I try to bring in some guests. I try to bring in some information. Because what you deserve is to become a higher self. Open your heart. Let the love dance through you and let the life be your dance. Anyways, I want to say thank you for listening to this. I hope it was inspirational. I hope you realized that even though today I have a very good relationship with my twin, we both are in alignment, more or less. I'm going to say more or less here and there. But we have a very big understanding. And it was interesting, another day my twin sent me a message saying, don't you think that me and you are not me and you? It was a bit written in French, so it's a little bit wrong translation, but the idea was something like that. And I was like, welcome to the world, welcome to the wonderland. We are all one. Anyways, I can talk forever, as you know, but again, if you wish to support this channel, if you wish to be part of the workshops, if you want to do the Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine activation and unite, because doing the Mahashivaratri, take your time to connect, then do that. I'm gonna say you will never regret that. You might regret the one beer at the bar, but you will never regret of doing a 10 minutes of meditation or tapping into the energy activation. Those who would like to have more understanding, if they are on this journey, what is happening to them, then twinflameawakeningjourney.com. All of the calls possibles are there. I also say, as soon as magic happens again, as soon as things on Patreon members, you get some discounts or free things. Same for the YouTube. So always make sure that, or Spotify, that you are subscribed, that as soon as it comes out, that when there is a code or when there is a free giveaway, that you get part of it. Because sometimes I understand we need that, and that's meant for you. Okay, thank you for listening again, and thank you for being here. It's beautiful to share that moment. And lots of love and lots of light.
Life too short to go